Netflix's Thursday Murder Club commits the greatest murder mystery sin. This begs the questions, what is the most efficient method of revealing information to the audience, and how do you know when your story has too much or too little detail? I'm Jekyll Hyde, and we will be answering these questions today by exploring the different suspects and their motives in Thursday Murder Club. Before I rip into this movie, I want to start by saying I thoroughly enjoyed my time watching this film. I would definitely recommend it to any casual murder mystery fan. However, there are some major fundamental errors in the storytelling that makes this film not nearly as good as it could be. This film succeeds in giving us both too much and too little information simultaneously. The movie tricks us into believing we are being presented with all the clues needed to solve this mystery, but in reality, we are bombarded with red herrings, all while crucial information is being withheld from us, all for the sake of the big reveal. Thursday Murder Club is a film adapted from a book of the same name written by Richard Osman. I haven't read the book, but from what I've heard, it's a pretty faithful adaptation with a few key changes. One of the suspects' motives were changed, and some suspects were cut completely, which was probably for the best. The movie was released on Netflix in August of 2025 and is directed by Chris Columbus, who you may recognize as the director of the first two Harry Potter movies and Home Alone. There are also some pretty prominent stars in this film. Our infamous Thursday Murder Club consists of Helen Mirren as Elizabeth, Pierce Brosnan as Ron, Ben Kingsley as Ibrahim, and Cecilia Imrie as Joyce. I hope I said her name right. Also, notably featuring the 10th Doctor and Lucifer as two of our many suspects in this movie. This will be a very spoiler-heavy video, so I recommend you go watch the movie and then come back and tell me if you were able to guess the ending. If you have seen it before, drop a comment letting me know if you were able to guess the big reveal. Be sure to tell the truth. I'll know if you're lying and it will hurt my feelings. So let's get into the thick of it. The movie is about a group of old folks living in an old folks' home. This particular group of old folks call themselves
the Thursday Murder Club.
The film begins with the TMC working to solve the case of a man named Peter Mercer who allegedly killed his girlfriend in the 70s, only to get away with it, then disappear, never to be seen again.
Angela's boyfriend, Peter Mercer, was questioned and soon released.
More filler plot happens, then Bogdan confesses to killing Tony by accident. Soon after, Elizabeth discovers Penny killed Peter Mercer and her husband John killed Ian. I had a hard time summarizing this movie because there was so much useless information being presented to us that it was difficult to narrow it down without overwhelming you with or leaving out too much detail. Hopefully you get the gist though. Okay, so we have to begin our investigation of this murder mystery sin with our first and most likely suspect, the 10th Doctor, Ian Bentham. Ian is the one plotting to dig up the cemetery and move all the old folks out of their homes. He is in the process of an expensive divorce with his wife Gemma.
And I'm Gemma, I'm British.
He is feuding with Tony over the plans for Cooper's chase, and in general, he's a total dick. To believe these reasons are Ian's motives for killing Tony. This seems pretty solid to me. He is a powerful person with plenty to gain from Tony's death. It would be likely that he or someone he hired would kill Tony, but here's the deal. We spend over half the movie trying to determine why and how Ian was involved in Tony's murder, only for him to be completely eliminated from life and the suspect list. But this doesn't mean he didn't hire somebody to kill Tony for him, and just because Ian is no longer alive doesn't mean that he wasn't involved in Tony's murder. They never explore those avenues more, and they never mention Ian's involvement again except as an innocent victim. This could have made more sense if we had more proof to eliminate him as a suspect before he died, and if they killed him off before the halfway point of the movie. Overall, I think they did an okay job handling Ian as a suspect, but none of the investigations done in the first half of the movie really mattered to the rest of the story. The film really starts to lose its footing when it narrows down the list of suspects to Lucifer, aka Jason, who's Ron's son, and notorious criminal Bobby Tanner. Jason officially becomes a suspect when the police discover a picture of Jason with Tony and Bobby Tanner.
See his arm reflected in the mirror behind them.
This one photo was enough for the police to determine Jason was involved in criminal activity, doing odd jobs for the owners of Cooper's Chase. When the police confront Jason about where he was during the time of Tony's death, he refuses to give an answer, which leads. This shows how badly this movie suffers from not having a clear idea of what's happening in this mystery, nor the people involved in it. As far as I was concerned, Jason might not have killed Tony, but he was definitely a suspect for Ian's murder. Not only was he present at the protest where Ian was killed, but he also had a clear motive for committing the crime. By revealing his affair with Gemma, he also revealed plenty of possible motives. He could have killed Ian to help Gemma get Ian's life insurance money, or to stop Ian from interfering with his relationship with Gemma. Unfortunately, the film chooses not to explore these avenues because it's desperate to keep us believing there's only one murderer committing all three crimes. This ends up making the film seem to be working only for the benefit of the big reveal rather than the benefit of the audience's understanding. I feel like it would have been a huge deal if Jason was actually involved in Ian's murder, and the reveal would have been more impactful than the real reveal. Now let's take a look at Bobby Tanner, shall we? I failed to mention before that Bobby Tanner's only significance is that he's the last surviving owner of Cooper's Chase, therefore making him the last potential suspect before all the murderers are revealed. Bobby Tanner has absolutely no business being in this story except to be used as the most unsatisfying plot device ever to grace Netflix originals. He sends Elizabeth anonymous threats for seemingly no reason. He says he didn't kill Tony or Ian and has a solid alibi, now putting his literal blood, sweat, and tears into being a florist. And he also agrees to shut down his whole criminal operation and sell Cooper's Chase, all because Elizabeth said so. Any experienced criminal would know not to insert yourself into anything that's none of your business, so why would he? Also, the reveal of him telling Elizabeth that Tony doesn't give passports back sucks like so bad. Getting a fact about the case told to us by a character we don't care about is my absolute favorite way of receiving information in a mystery. This could have been revealed in a blink and you miss it moment between Bogdan and Tony in the background of a scene where Bogdan is begging Tony for his passport and Tony says no. Or in the beginning of the movie where Ian is talking to Bogdan, Bogdan could have asked Ian for his passport and all Ian has to say is Tony holds the passports. This would have made the reveal of information more interesting, as well as completely eliminate the need for Bobby Tanner's character. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Who killed Tony? Well, I already told you. It was Bogdan. Well, how and why did he kill Tony? The short answer is, I don't know, and for no reason really. Bogdan spends the whole movie aiding Elizabeth in her investigation, so there's no reason to suspect Bogdan until he's revealed to be the killer. After Ian is killed, he mentions to Elizabeth that he had to give up his passport to whoever hired him to work at Cooper's Chase, but he never mentions specifically who has his passport. After Tony is killed, Bogdan gives off the impression that he still doesn't have his passport. If he killed Tony and ransacked his house, wouldn't he have found his passport? And if Ian fired Tony and replaced him with Bogdan before Tony died, wouldn't that guarantee him getting his passport back? His motives for accidentally or even purposefully killing Tony don't make much sense to me. I can get over lackluster motives. What I can't get over is the reveal of Bogdan as the murderer. We learn Bogdan is the killer when during their regular game of chess, Stephen asks Bogdan if he's the killer, to which Bogdan confesses it was an accident.
I mean, I don't know why you killed Tony, but I do know you did it.
It was an accident. I had no intention of killing Tony. I only want my passport. You have to understand that.
How the fuck did senile Stephen determine Bogdan was the killer before anyone else with the absolute nothing burger they've been feeding us this whole movie? That's not even the worst of it. This confession happens immediately before Bobby tells Elizabeth that Tony doesn't give passports back. To poison Stephen when she doesn't know that Stephen knows because she found out Bogdan was the killer at the same time we found out. Why would senile Stephen, who's shown sitting in the same seat every time we see him, know more about Bogdan's involvement than Elizabeth, who has been pretty much single-handedly solving this case? With Bogdan's confession immediately before Elizabeth and in turn the audience are able to put the remaining pieces together, it snatches the satisfying aha moment away from the viewers. This would have been done better if Bogdan confessed to Stephen during their chess game, which senile Stephen always records.
Stephen records all of his chess games.
And while Stephen is listening to the playback, we can show Elizabeth making tea while the tape plays in the background. Then we, both the audience and Elizabeth, hear Bogdan's confession at the same time. This would have made the reveal just a little bit more interesting and kept godforsaken Bobby Tanner out of this movie. Moving on to murderer number 2, Penny. We learn at the beginning of the movie that Penny provides all the cold cases for the TMC to investigate, but she didn't suggest the Peter Mercer case before she went down for the count. We also know Penny suggested the police further question Peter Mercer, but due to good old-fashioned sexism, they brush her off and Peter gets away with murdering his girlfriend. After this, Peter Mercer disappears, never to be seen again. With literally 20 minutes left of the movie, only Elizabeth knows what that look means.
We both know that when Penny has that look, she's about to take some serious action.
and it was enough for her to determine Penny killed Peter Mercer, and with John's help, they buried him in the cemetery. One photo is certainly not enough to convince me as a viewer, nor any court of law, that she was involved in, let alone committed this crime. So once again, they rushed to shove a juicy nothing burger down our throats. The final crime to be solved is the murder of Ian, done by none other than Penny's husband, John. We learn he killed Ian the same scene we learn Penny killed Peter Mercer, when Elizabeth and the rest of the TMC confront John at the end of the movie.
Penny killed Peter Mercer, and then she hid his body at the cemetery. And I believe you helped her.
Elizabeth offers the motive of him killing Ian because John was trying to halt the cemetery from being dug up, preventing Peter Mercer's remains from being discovered, in turn protecting Penny's reputation and concealing his involvement in the crime.
And you knew if Ian Bentham dug up that body, the whole story might unravel.
So Bentham had to go to protect Penny.
What evidence does Elizabeth have? John keeps syringes by Penny's bedside that only Elizabeth, importantly never the audience, has seen. There's a ton of information regarding his involvement that's hidden from the audience. This makes it no fun to rewatch the movie and try to piece together the breadcrumb trail that leads to this conclusion that you might have missed the first time. There's even a scene where Ron and Ibrahim are going over the suspects that were present at the protest. When they show their list of suspects, all of the TMC is on the list, and Jason is on there too, but not John. They also mention a man named Bernard, who I guess was a big suspect in the book, but only mentioned this one time as potentially having access to a toxin. You know who they failed to mention has access to lethal drugs? John. Why? Because the film is so horrified of us guessing who the killers are that they chose to hide information from us instead of plotting easy to miss details in plain sight. Like, for example, this small detail in Knives Out Glass Onion that I missed until my literal 10th time watching this movie. If they had, at the bare minimum, put John's name on that list, I probably wouldn't be making this essay right now. A good murder mystery is like a puzzle. It's a critical thinking exercise that encourages the audience to stay engaged and work out those information retention brain muscles. When a mystery keeps information hidden from the audience or overwhelms us with details or fails to lay out the clues in a logical manner, then the reward of solving the puzzle is stripped from the audience. I feel like when movies do this, it reinforces an approach to movies where we, as viewers, are encouraged not to think about what we're watching, don't engage with it, and if the reveal comes far enough out of left field, we might find it enjoyable. The motives and methods of the suspects in Thursday Murder Club were lukewarm at best and not fleshed out enough to create a satisfying experience for any murder mystery fan. I do, however, think this movie is very successful at portraying seniors in a way that can make people of a certain age feel represented without being condescending. Also, the movie handles the themes of grief and approaching the end of life beautifully and with respect. The movie is actually a good movie, but that's coming from someone who's never had a bad time watching a movie. The cast is great and Chris Columbus is a very talented director. If you're looking for a comfort movie to distract yourself from unpaid bills for 2 hours, then I would definitely recommend this one. If you're looking for a juicy murder mystery to sink your teeth into, I would recommend the new Knives Out film, Wake Up Dead Man. That's all for today. If you made it this far, I will now give you a very tender virtual forehead kiss. And if you enjoyed my presence, please be sure to check out my YouTube shorts. I post mostly fashion content and sometimes bite-sized essays there. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Most importantly, please let me know your thoughts down below. Do you agree or disagree with me? Do you think the film was unsatisfying, or is this your new favorite movie? Tell me what your favorite murder mystery is. I'm always looking for new movies to watch. I would love to discuss with you all in the comments. Until next time, ciao friends and foes!